It's potato soup, everyone. Very simple. Bear Creek, if you have this brand at your local grocery, it's a creamy potato soup. I am gonna cheat by using this packet, but I'm going to be adding my own additional flavors, seasonings. You can do this. I did not get bread because I'll be using more potatoes than what is provided in here. So I'm adding potatoes. I'll be adding bacon as a topping, scallions or green onions. I'm adding a little bit of minced onion, a little bit of minced garlic. I use a Mexican style cheese at the end with the scallions and sour cream. So I did not call for the bread, but of course you're welcome to use that. Yes, I'm cheating. It's not a homemade meal, but this is my base and it's super easy. These are the instructions. It's 3 small, simple directions right here on the side. You're just adding 8 cups of water, whisk the mix, and simmer occasionally, but again, I'm adding additional items at the end, and it's basically what's suggested here. So I'll be making real bacon, adding the scallions. I'm gonna add sour cream and cheese at the end. Super simple. Right now I have 4 cups of water in here. Here's 4 more cups. We're gonna go ahead and start this on the stove. To the left. As that is working, we're gonna go ahead and set this grill on high. Moving some things around, get you guys situated anyways, so we're gonna go on high right there. I have leftover bacon. That's what made me go for this meal. So I'm just gonna use the leftover bacon. Using the baggie or Ziploc baggie as my plate, simply cutting in half. While the bacon cooks, I've got the water on high over to the left, and so far we have, I'm going to rinse the potatoes. This is the minced onion we're going to use, and then we'll also drizzle some raw onion at the end, so we'll cut this later. Getting rid of this bacon trash. Let's rinse the potatoes now. I do like using the red potatoes. I feel like it has a different taste to the soup or roast or whatever it is that you're cooking. If I'm doing baked potatoes, I'll use an Idaho potato. I won't use a red potato for baked potato, but if I'm doing soup, roast, it's always a red potato. So cutting right down the middle. Because it's a soup, I'm gonna go real small with the pieces. So cutting off the edges, doing just about that size, cutting in half, then in half again, and then cutting into these small pieces. making those thin, as those will cook fast, and I'll just return them back to the same bowl. Returning these back to the bowl. I usually do cut off the ends and down the middle again. I do want them a little chunky because I don't want the soup too creamy. And I'll be adding a little bit more water as I go, so it's not so creamy of a potato soup. Of course, you do not have to do that. You can do just as it calls for on the bag. All in the bowl. Go back in the bowl. We're going to rinse these potatoes that we just cut again, and we'll toss the rest of these potatoes out, rinsing. Bacon is still finishing rinsing these potatoes. Rinsing the knife. Our water is boiling, so let's move over here. Our water's gonna be boiling here shortly, and that's when we're going to add the contents of this package. Again, this is the brand Bear Creek. Usually it is at grocery stores or even Walmart. I use it as my base. I have not made homemade potato soup, so I like to use this. It's probably the closest thing you'll get to homemade soup with the flavors, and of course I add seasoning. So because that's almost boiling, I'll just leave this to the side. Let's go ahead and move this candle to the stove. Water's almost to a boil. Bacon is what we're going to be adding at the end on top. So as this starts to boil, we'll slowly add, let's see, 1 second. So we're slowly gonna add the contents of this. I don't have a list, so I'll use this for now. And slowly adding. I'm also going to add potatoes as I'm adding this. I'll just do a handful by handful. And here it goes. So can you guys wait, maybe? She's gonna figure that out right now. Alright, so still adding the contents. Okay. And the rest of the potatoes. So let's go ahead and add those now. Finishing the bacon on the side. This is pretty much done. So now we're gonna, the bacon is pretty much done, not the soup. Anyways, we're just gonna make sure this is stirred really well. A couple things we will add is a little bit of Lowers at the beginning, very, very small amount, because we will be adding that at the end. And a tiny dash of garlic salt. And something I haven't done, at the end I'm gonna add a little bit of ranch. We'll do like a twice baked potato soup. I just made that up right now. Twice baked potato soup. So we're gonna go ahead and cover this and let this potato soup cook. Again, so far we just have the package of this, the water, and a little bit of Lowry's and garlic salt, just the dash of each. We're going to let this cook and make sure it's stirred. Continuing to stir, we're going to turn it down so the potatoes can cook and also cover it up. So we've added just a little bit of Lowry's seasoning, garlic salt, and now let's add just a dash of pepper. We'll let that just sit. Turning it on very low, so like 4 or 3. The bacon is done, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull the bacon off. Let's see. Bacon is done. We're going to finish preparing for the soup once it is done. Right now it's on pretty low. We're gonna let that do its thing. So for now, let's finish preparing. I've already rinsed my cutting board. We're gonna go ahead and just do some onion. Cut off both ends first, and then right down the middle. Super easy that way. And then I'm just gonna use a small amount for now. I'll be adding just a little bit of these to the soup. I think I'll add just about this much to the soup right here. This amount. Also adding a tiny bit of minced garlic, probably about this amount, very small amount. Putting this back. For now, I'm just gonna cut some small pieces of onion. This will be for the end, and probably just a few, because I'm the only one that likes them. These I will put back in the onion area. I went ahead and rinsed the green onion, and I'm just gonna cut these with scissors. Pretty small, or fairly small. Let's throw this stuff away right here. Alright. Back to it. Just do very small pieces. And then probably another chop. Okay. That should be good for the onions. You don't want too many. And here's the bacon. So these are our toppings. I'm gonna do some cheese. I do Mexican style. I like this small grated cheese. So we'll just have this ready to the side. And then we're gonna add sour cream. So we'll open that up. Everything is already ready. The soup is gonna cook, and I'm gonna add a shorts to the page for the finished product. Thank you all for your time. That's potato soup for the fall and winter. I hope you all enjoyed. If you have a homemade soup, let me know. Have a good evening. Thank you, everyone. Bye.